Before I go through the last section of this white paper, which outlines the proposed reforms to the private rented sector, which by the way is going to have a significant effect on all of us landlords, all letting agents and all tenants, I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you exactly how I can help and exactly what I can do. First of all, I'm a landlord myself, so all of this is going to affect me. I will share all of my knowledge, advice, tips, interviews with experts and ideas on my podcast, The Anonymous Landlord. Also, it'll all be on my YouTube channel as well. Just search for Tom Soane. I run a Facebook group specifically for landlords with properties in Portsmouth and surrounding areas, cleverly called Portsmouth Landlords. Search for that on Facebook. My main business is a local lettings management company. It operates within a 25-mile radius of Portsmouth, including Southsea, Fareham, Gosport, Waterlooville, Havant, Hayling Island, Southampton, Chichester, all the way up to Petersfield. That includes full management, all-inclusive management, guaranteed rent and also a VIP management service. So if you've got a rental property now, whether it's tenanted or not, or you're buying a property that you intend to rent out, schedule a discovery call and we can talk about the management and letting of your property and also the management of your tenancy. My company, Pink Street, also has a portfolio management department, which gives portfolio landlords one single point of contact for all of their properties around the UK. You, as the landlord, pay only one management fee for the whole portfolio, and my portfolio management team will work with contractors and suppliers around the UK to fully manage your portfolio for you, making you a truly anonymous landlord. You no longer need multiple agents managing your properties. I'm also a property broker. That means I provide off-market, below market value, buy-to-let and flip-to-let property investments to investor landlords. It's mainly focused on the south, northeast, northwest and parts of the Midlands. So if you want to invest in a property and you want to buy off-market, below-market properties, then schedule a discovery call with me and we'll talk about what properties are available and if we're right to work together. Lastly, my company Pink Street offer a compliance audit and execute service. So if you're a landlord with a rental property, whether it's tenanted or not, you can use my compliance audit and execute service, which will assess your property, your tenancy, and you as a landlord to identify any areas where you're not compliant with current legislation. And we'll also check against the proposed reforms to the private rented sector to make sure you're protected for the future. This is completely confidential between you and my company, Pink Street. So you have two options with the compliance audit and execute service. Option number one, my team at Pink Street will send you a template of the audit so you can do it yourself. Or option two, my lettings team at Pink Street will do the full audit and produce the report for you. We'll send the report directly to you so you can take action yourself to bring your property, the tenancy, and yourself as a landlord up to the required standard, or you can ask my lettings team to do it for you. To find out more about any of those things that I've just mentioned, or just to ask any question about your specific situation, I will help everybody I can. You can contact me by email. It's tom@pinkstreet.co.uk. And I promise I will answer every single question I get. I just want to help as many people as I can. If you become a customer of one of my businesses, then great. If not, I just want to make sure that all landlords are compliant and not at risk, and that you have profitable, reliable, Easy, simple, safe property investments. If you're invested in property in any way, you are a property investor. So I want to make sure you get that part right. You can also contact me or my team by phone. It's 02392 864 555. Or most of you will probably just search for my company or me. The company is called Pink Street and my name is Tom Soane. So, the last section of the white paper titled A Fairer Private Rented Sector, which outlines the proposed reforms to the private rented sector. Conclusion. All tenants deserve a safe, secure, good value and decent home wherever they live. Good landlords and agents need support to manage their businesses effectively, and local councils should be able to effectively hold the worst landlords to account. Our proposals will improve life for millions of tenants across England and level up housing quality. Together, our reforms will create a rental market that is fairer and more effective for tenants and landlords. The changes outlined in this white paper will provide 4.4 million households with more secure, higher quality homes and give councils the tools they need to crack down on the minority of non-compliant landlords. We will make it easier for landlords to repossess their homes in reasonable circumstances, including in cases of antisocial behaviour. Annexes. Annex A. Operation and regulation of the private rented sector. The Department for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities sets out the overall policy for the PRS and oversees the regulatory framework. Local councils choose how they regulate based on local priorities and have a range of investigation and enforcement tools available. They have flexibility in how they discharge this duty and should have an enforcement strategy in place which sets out their approach. Changes to the laws that govern the private rented sector over the past 4 decades reflect the greater role it plays in the housing system. The legislative framework seeks to balance protections for tenants and housing quality with maintaining landlord investment and effective market operation. There are 3 main areas where the government intervenes to regulate the relationship between landlords and tenants in the private rented sector. Tenancy law, the contractual agreement between landlord and tenant. The conditions that must be met for any tenancy to be created are specified in the Housing Act 1988 and include a tenant's right to live undisturbed in a property for an agreed period of time and for an agreed amount of rent. The landlord has the right to set rent and the power to evict. Financial protections. The financial relationship between landlord, tenant and letting agent, excluding the setting of rents, which is broadly left to the market. This is enforced through tenancy deposit protection, client money protection, redress schemes and local council action. Standards. The duties of landlord and tenant regarding the safety and quality of the property. This is enforced through a range of local council actions and powers and the courts. Figure 5. Key legislation affecting the private rented sector in England since 1985. I've included this because I think this is important for landlords and letting agents to know. Housing Act 1985 imposed a duty on local authorities to inspect, report and prepare proposals to deal with overcrowding. Landlord and Tenant Act 1985 sets out the rights and responsibilities of both landlords and tenants, sets out who is responsible for repairing a property whilst it's being rented. Housing Act 1988 introduced assured short hold tenancies. Introduced Section 21 notices. Housing Act 1996 placed the private rented sector under the oversight of local authorities who were given duties and responsibilities to care for vulnerable persons within their area. Housing Act 2004 modernised and improved standards and management of private rented sector properties, requiring HMOs to be licensed. Introduced tenancy deposit schemes and rent repayment orders. Introduced the Housing Health and Safety Rating System. Mortgage Repossessions Act 2010 gave tenants, even those not authorised by the mortgage provider, the right to be heard in court during the possession hearing. Deregulation Act 2015 introduced new provisions to protect tenants against unfair evictions. Housing and Planning Act 2016 allowed local authorities to issue fines of up to £30,000. Introduced the database of rogue landlords and property agents, and also banning orders for the worst landlords. Homes Fitness for Human Habitation Act 2018 required landlords to ensure their properties are fit for human habitation throughout their tenancy. Helped to drive up standards in rented homes in both the private rented sector and the social rented sectors by providing an alternative means for tenants to seek redress. Tenant Fees Act 2019 banned unfair letting fees, capped tenancy deposits at either 5 or 6 weeks' rent. Coronavirus Act 2020 introduced longer notice periods. The department currently uses data from a variety of sources to inform policy decisions and regulatory oversight. This includes department-commissioned research such as the English Housing Survey and English Private Landlord Survey, as well as research into specific policy areas, such as how local councils are using their enforcement powers. The department also regularly engages with other government departments, local councils and industry stakeholders to enhance the department's insights into the sector. The department will further develop its approach to data to support its private rented sector reform programme, and will continue to work closely with local councils and other stakeholders to support this. This includes considering what further data is needed to fully understand the impact of future reforms and outcomes for tenants and landlords. We remain mindful of the need to balance reporting demands placed on local councils with a need for robust oversight of the sector. The department is committed to monitoring the reform programme and is currently considering this as part of our wider work on data.